I was really hoping I could avoid making this video. Back in March 2023, I made a video about the current state of Boca Juniors and how we were losing to some of the worst teams in the league, buying and starting mediocre players, how our manager was absolutely clueless and the board was beyond useless. It's now December 2024 and not a single thing has changed. And about a year ago I made a full-length documentary of every time that Boca failed to win the Copa Libertadores since last winning it in 2007, and at the end of said video I mentioned that Boca failed to qualify to the 2024 Copa Libertadores. Yeah, not much has changed either. Let's rewind a bit. 2023 for Boca was chaotic, to say the least. Despite Almirón's and Marcos Rojo's best efforts, Boca managed to make the Copa Libertadores final in 2023 by winning every single knockout tie on penalties. So maybe, just maybe, it could be the year that the curse gets broken. Then Fabra gets himself sent off and we lose on extra time. Well, the dream to win the Copa Libertadores was over, but at least we could still qualify to the 2024 edition and win some silverware along the way by beating Estudiantes in the Copa Argentina semi-finals. By 15 minutes we were already 1-0 down and Sarachi had gotten himself sent off. Oh, but what's this? Star Uruguayan striker Miguel Merentiel gets himself a brace in a matter of minutes, and out of nowhere we've turned the game around. If we can just hold on to this lead throughout the second half, maybe we can, oh for fuck's sake! Well, we are still the kings of penalties, so we just gotta make sure not to concede and we'll be fine. And then Figal scores an own goal and we lose the game. And just like that, through our own incompetence, we failed to qualify to the Copa Libertadores, and in 2024 we had to play in the Copa Sudamericana. This got coach Jorge Almirón sacked, and in came Diego Martinez to lead the team in 2024. The transfer window for 2024 saw Boca sell only one player, but a pretty important player at that, as wonder kid Valentin Barco left for Brighton for $10 million. Boca also got rid of players like Marcelo Weigand, Bruno Valdés and Facundo Roncaglia. Boca had to spend big in the winter to rehold the entire squad, which is why we spent 6.5 million euros. Wait, what? Yes, after not winning a single trophy, the board's response was to trigger the buy option for Merentiel of $3 million from Palmeiras, sign 33-year-old centre-back Cristian Lema for $500,000 from Lanús, get left-back Lautaro Blanco on a free from Elche, and put $4 million on 22-year-old left-winger Kevin Zenon. Boca's start to the year was average, to say the least. But in the first big test in the Superclásico played at the Estadio Monumental in February, the team showed positive signs, and a goal from Christian Medina meant we come away of that game with a point. After a streak of good results, Boca managed to just barely qualify to the second round of the League's Cup with a Cavani winner over Godoy Cruz. And in the quarters, our opponent was none other than River Plate, in an all-or-nothing elimination game at a neutral venue. River were the ones to strike first, when Rojo hesitated for an eternity against wonderkid Echeverri, who assisted Miguel Borja to make it 1-0. But Boca took control of the game, and before the end of the half, Advíncula assisted Merentiel for the equalizer. In the second half, a wonderful cross from Zenon found the head of Edinson Cavani to turn the game around, and only 5 minutes later, Merentiel scored from a rebound to make it 3-1. And so, despite Pablo Diaz getting a consolation goal in stoppage time, Boca had eliminated their arch rivals in a statement game, setting up a clash in the semi-finals against Estudiantes. Boca once again played a fantastic game like we hadn't in a long time, and before the end of the first half, Advíncula and Merentiel combined again for another great goal. Everything was going well, which obviously meant that something terrible was about to happen. And that was Cristian Lema, the 33-year-old centre-back we signed, doing his best Karate Kid impression, getting himself sent off and gifting Estudiantes a penalty which they used to equalize. And with no more goals, Estudiantes, without doing anything throughout the entire match, had taken the game to penalties. But it's fine, after all, Boca are the penalty kings, and the first pen would be taken by none other than Edinson Cavani. But Sergio Romero did not gain his penalty expert title for nothing, and this time he's able to deny Serré with a brilliant save. Merentiel now had the chance to give Boca the lead.
Merentiel arriba, señoras y señores, Merentiel por encima del...
Mancuso proceeded to score for Estudiantes, so did Zenón and Carrillo, and then it was turned for Figal. And with Mendes scoring his attempt, Boca were eliminated from the League's Cup, missing out on a trophy in shocking fashion. Notice how I haven't mentioned the Copa Sudamericana yet. Oh, don't worry, I have not forgotten that we are playing this shit. Boca were placed in Group D alongside reigning finalist Fortaleza from Brazil, Sportivo Trinidense from Paraguay, and Nacional Potosí from Bolivia. Those badges look familiar. Boca kicked off their campaign with a 0-0 draw away to Potosí, with Benedetto doing what he does best. Boca then shithoused their way to a 1-0 win in La Bombonera against Trinidense, before getting thundershocked by a guy named Pikachu and losing 4-2 away to Fortaleza. A fantastic Cavani free kick got Boca a 2-1 win away to Trinidense, and this meant that if Boca could defeat Fortaleza at home, we could go top of the group and skip the playoff round and qualify directly to the round of 16. And it looked like it might happen when Lautaro Blanco assisted Edinson Cavani to give Boca the lead in the second half. And in the 90th minute, Boca had the game in the bag and a corner to our advantage. Wait, why are all of our defenders going up for a corner in the 90th minute on the game when we're up 1-0? Like, what? I swear we deserve everything that happens to us. And so despite thrashing Potosí 4-0 in La Bombonera, Boca finished behind Fortaleza and have to play the playoff round against Independiente del Valle, who dropped to the Sudamericana after finishing third in their Copa Libertadores group. Okay, but now it's the winter break. How will Boca approach the transfer window? Well, we are gonna start by allowing our entire midfield, in Cristian Medina, Eki Fernandez and Kevin Zenón, to represent Argentina at the Summer Olympics, which I fully support, and for the game against Independiente del Valle, we'll sign right winger Brian Aguirre, striker Milton Jimenez, and 4 midfielders in Tomás Belmonte, Ignacio Miramón, Agustín Martegani, and Gary Medel. Wait, 36-year-old Gary Medel? Huh? Not only are all of these players average at best, but most of them cover positions that we really didn't need replacements for. Or I guess we do, now that we sold Luca Langoni and our most important player, defensive midfielder Eki Fernandez. But you wanna know the real kicker? Most of these players were brought in to fill in the gaps in the midfield, left by the players who departed to play for the Olympics. These 4 midfielders were brought in to play one single home and away tie in the Copa Sudamericana. What did the Boca board do? They forgot to register the players. I'm not even kidding, I'm being dead serious here. Boca Juniors, the biggest club in the continent, failed to register their players because they sent the email to CONMEBOL too late, thinking that the transfer window closed at 7 PM Paraguay time and not at 7 PM Argentina time. I would make a joke about this, but for real, how many people are getting paid at the Boca board just to sign and register players, and you don't even bother to double check that you have to send a fucking email in time? Off to a good start for the second half of the year. And the worst part is, playing with kids from the academy in midfield who were making their debut for Boca, we managed to beat Independiente del Valle 1-0 on aggregate with another Cavani goal to make the run of 16. Now it was time for the league, and as always, Boca began to drop points in stupid fashion against teams that we were always supposed to beat. Atlético Tucumán, Platense in a game that I attended and I saw Marcos Rojo get himself sent off in the first half, Defensa y Justicia, Barracas Central, Instituto, Independiente Rivadavia, all of these games got Boca to be 15th in the league after 10 match days. And the worst was yet to come. Boca hosted Cruzeiro in the Copa Sudamericana round of 16. Boca played a very good game but failed to score in the first half. However, in the second, it was once again Edinson Cavani the one to give Boca the lead. He could have doubled our lead a few minutes later, but his shot ended up hitting the post. And so Boca only had a 1-0 lead to defend in Brazil. These are the moments where the players need to show composure and play a calm game. You guys are just not serious! And it didn't take long for Cruzeiro to take advantage of the situation, as Figal, who had been subbed in, loses the ball and Mateus Pereira shoots from distance. It's saved by Romero, but the rebound is scored by Enrique to equal the tie. However, Cruzeiro instantly make a mistake of their own and Zenon pounces to... What the fuck? And right after that, from a corner, Marcos Rojo clears the ball into the middle and Wallace scores to give Cruzeiro the lead. Both teams continued to have chances, but being a man down, it looked doomed for Boca. But right before halftime, Milton Jimenez scores to make it 2-2 on aggregate. In the second half, it was Cruzeiro the one to have a lot of clear opportunities, which had to be cleared off the line by Boca's defense. But in the 93rd minute, Sarachi escapes down the left and slides in a pass for Miguel Merentiel to win the game. And so the tie would be decided on penalties, where we would see the first 9 penalties go in, and this meant that Merentiel was forced to score to keep Boca in the shootout.
Ahí va, Merentiel, señoras y señores.
And just like that, Boca were eliminated from the Copa Sudamericana way earlier than expected. After this, Boca still needed to fight in the Copa Argentina, where in the round of 16 we had a pretty difficult game against Talleres. After a 1-1 draw with some controversy, Boca ended up advancing in one of the craziest penalty shootouts in recent times. This script is already too long as it is, so you can just watch the highlights if you want. All you need to know is that even the goalkeepers had to shoot. After picking up some crucial points, Boca were in good position to qualify to the Copa Libertadores through the table too. And so when things were looking up is when things went to shit. First we had to visit Racing in Avellaneda, and despite taking an early lead through Milton Jimenez, almost immediately Romero and Paul Fernandez combined to give the ball away and allow Nardoni to equalize. And near the end of the game, Romero comes off his line and allows Roger Martinez to score the winner for Racing. However, the breaking point would be the next game, against River Plate in La Bombonera. This was the chance to turn fortunes around, facing our biggest rival in our stadium, with our crowd, and with River rotating their squad for this game as they were focused on their upcoming Copa Libertadores fixture. And then Boca produced one of the most uninspiring performances I've ever seen, allowing Manuel Lanzini to score his first goal since returning to River Plate all the way back in August, and not producing a single clear goal-scoring opportunity after that. And still, in the last kick of the game, Lautaro Blanco delivers a cross for Milton Jimenez to score the equalizer and turn La Bombonera into a madhouse as Boca rescue a point against their biggest rivals. Blanco again, another cross. Jimenez, no way! Goal! 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 Goal, la puta madre! And then the goal got disallowed. No, it hit his hand. It hit his fucking hand, bro. No goal. And that was it for Diego Martinez, although his sacking wouldn't be made official until the next game, where we lost 2-0 against Belgrano. In comes Fernando Gago to turn things around as a coach. Although considering Gary Medel is in the squad, he could still start in midfield. Boca proceed to lose 3-0 against bottom of the table Tigre, scrape by in the cup on penalties again, this time against Gimnasia, draw with Deportivo Riestra at home and lose 1-0 to Lanús. After these results, Boca were now sitting 7 points away from qualifying to the Copa Libertadores, and only 1 point clear of the last Copa Sudamericana slot. But Gago managed to figure out his best starting 11, winning 3 games in a row and getting a draw against Huracán, so Boca climbed to only 4 points short of the Copa Libertadores. Still, the easiest way to qualify would be to win the cup, and so the Ceneice had to play against Vélez in the semifinals. And it wouldn't start great. Right off the bat, Vélez took the lead after some sloppy defending allowed Piscini to score with a classy finish, but not as classy as Figal, who would score 15 minutes later into his own net. However, before halftime, Cavani would pull one back for Boca with a fantastic header. Somehow, Advíncula wasn't sent off for this foul, but it didn't really matter because right after halftime, since he was determined to get a red card, he committed this foul for no reason. In case you haven't kept track, in the last 13 knockout games, Boca has received 7 red cards, and despite being a man down, Ezequiel Ceballos would cut inside and score a great goal to equalize, and in the 80th minute, Belmonte would tap the ball in to turn the game around in epic fashion. Finally, Boca showed some fighting spirit. Finally, we turned the game around, and now we were qualifying to the Copa Argentina final.
Va a venir otro centro al área para Santos.
For fuck's sake! And that brings us to the present day. Boca beat both Gimnasia and Newell's 1-0 and has secured 5th place in the annual table. And unless Huracán win the league, Boca will be in the Copa Libertadores next year. It would still be embarrassed to qualify in that fashion, and either way this has been one of the worst years in recent times for Boca. But as always, we'll be there next year, which should also be pretty exciting considering that we have the Club World Cup to look forward to. Anyway, I've been speaking for way too long. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel that has grown a lot throughout this year. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.